Show number 13.
This Otaku's Life.
I've found that the giving and receiving of advice isn't always welcome and is heavily based on your relationship with the individual. One of the most funny occurrences of this was when you have a small group of friends and someone gives the proper advice to the individual seeking it and it isn't well received. It might be politely received, but simply it's ignored. So imagine the scenario, me and friend A and friend B is seeking the advice. So let's say that I give friend B advice and they say thank you for your point of view, but ultimately what they're doing is shrugging you off. And friend A might repeat your exact words, and friend B might say, wow, that's a good idea. Relationships play an interesting role when giving or receiving of the advice. You would think that the closer the relationship you have with someone, that they would be more interested in hearing what you have to say. But again, as I mentioned, this is not always the case. Most of the time when someone is seeking advice, they're not really seeking the advice, they're just seeking the support of knowing what's the wrong thing to do. But the other thing that's interesting about this is that sometimes people just want to express their concerns and they're not always looking for a solution. What I do for a job, majority of the time, is solving problems. And so my default stance is when someone is seeking a conversation, I want to immediately solve it, give advice, recommend something. But I learned long ago that sometimes people just want to share. Not every conversation is there to be solved. You know, the best thing that can happen is you can have a conversation and the person seeking advice might actually realize what they should do just by having the conversation about it. And what's also interesting is when you start thinking about parents. The dynamic is really interesting. Sometimes we don't hear each other, that they feel like they must provide an answer to my concerns. But as an adult, I'm not always seeking advice, looking maybe sometimes for support, but that doesn't mean that I'm asking anybody to solve my issues. I'll say it again, not all advice is welcome, and most of the time, it's not always needed. The best advice is given when it's unintentional. So the next time someone discusses a problem that they're having, don't assume they're looking for your advice. If they really need it, if they really want it, they'll ask for it. Thank you everyone once again for downloading and continuing to listen and contributing in some small way or another, whether that's feedback or in other ways by helping us get new show IDs. If you're interested in doing that and capable of recording audio, we'd ask you to do one of a few things. First, if you want to help us with the show ID, contribute your voice, all we ask you to do is say "This Otaku's Life" with pauses in between. And if you want to share one of your stories, one of your perspectives or point of views, just record us some audio and send it our way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a topic we've already shared or discussed, but it could be something new as well. Maybe a future topic we would have for the show. So to do that, all you need to do is send us email at thisotakuslife@gmail.com and check out our website, thisotakuslife.com. And we also have Twitter, thisotakuslife. So thanks again for continuing to listen and contribute, and I hope we've said something here, maybe some kind of advice we've given or shared, an experience that has touched you, maybe even helped. So until next week, everyone, have a good one.